All right, so today we're going to talk about polynomials. They can be polynomial terms, expressions, or equations. We're going to talk real quick on how to identify them. Terms can be positive or negative, but they are always going to have an exponent and a variable. They do not have to have a coefficient. Your coefficient can be 1. So real quick, polynomials are raised to whole number powers, as you see here. They cannot be raised to negative powers. They cannot be raised to fractional powers. And they cannot be, the variable cannot be in the denominator of a fraction. So if we have 1 over 2x squared, these are all, that's a horrible bracket, not polynomials. So real quick, just to show you something that you may not notice, if you have x to the negative 2, that is the same as 1 over x squared. So you still have that's why you cannot do a negative number. Okay. An expression is just something that you'll actually see this on the test right here. You have x squared plus 3x plus 4. Now it's an expression because there is no equal sign making it an equation. It's not set to anything. We're not trying to figure out what the values of x are for this expression or anything like that. What you may see here is they want you to solve at a given point. So they may tell you for this expression, when x is equal to 3, what does this expression equal? For the equation, you may recognize this from your algebra classes where they say find the zeros of the polynomial. And that's why we went ahead and set this to 0, because that's mostly the most common way people encounter polynomial equations in algebra 1 or 2 in high school, or college algebra in college. All right, so just remember, any term without a variable is called a constant. So we have here, I'm going to write a few constants down. 4 is a constant. Pi is a constant. 2.25 is a constant. Any number that doesn't have a variable is a constant. Now if we have pi times diameter, the diameter will be different. That will be your variable. So we're not going to have a constant here. This is no longer a constant. But if we had 4 pi, that is a constant because 4 is always 4 and pi is always pi. And here, again, the diameter can change. Therefore, we do not have a constant. All right, now we're going to talk about the degree of a polynomial. Let me just erase everything we have here so far. So take a minute while I'm doing this to think about what you know about the degrees of a polynomial. All right, so if I were to give you 4x squared plus 2x plus 3 minus 5x to the 5th, how would you go about, or what would you tell me the degree of this polynomial is? Well, the first thing we need to do is write it in descending order, and we're going to do that by looking at the powers of the exponents on each of these. So we have 2, we have x, which is 1, we have a constant, which we can look at the constant here as 3x to the 0 power, because x to the 0 power is going to be equal 1 no matter what the value of x we put in. So really what we would have is 3 times 1. We're going to have this at 0. And here we have it to the 5th power. So to write it in descending order, I'm going to start with my highest power, and I'm going to take its sign so I do not lose it. I'm going to have negative 5x to the 5th. I'm going to go ahead and cross that out just to make it easier on us. Then we're going to have positive, because it's understood positive since we're not identifying it, 4x squared. Then I'm going to go ahead and cross that one out. We went back to black. All right, and then we have next 2x to the 1st power, and our constant 3. So now that it's in descending order, we can take our first term and identify what its power is by looking at its exponent. And we are going to say that this is a fifth degree polynomial. All right. This may or may not be on the test, but a second degree polynomial is called a quadratic, and a third degree is called a cubic. In case they ask you to identify the cubic polynomial, you're going to want to write them in descending order. All right. Then you're going to look at the highest power. And once you look at the power, you'll know the degree of the polynomial. So you'll identify the degree by the highest exponent. So on the test, if we were to say, if you had the option to identify the cubic, we would say you have 3x squared plus 2x minus 5, or 4x cubed, which when you read it kind of gives you the answer right away, minus x plus 4. So here is your cubic, and here is your quadratic. That's really a simple one that can save you. You have 2 minutes per question on this test. That's really one that you see quadratic or you see cubic, you grab it really quick, and really you have 1:45 saved for that next question. That's actually going to trip you up. That's a really good piece of information to take into the test with you, because knowing that and having that head start on it will save you so much time that when you get to the problems you're going to struggle with or second guess yourself on, you can actually dedicate a little bit more time to them. So let's just go ahead and say, in this playlist, this is just the first introductory video, so you kind of know when I say term, expression, equation, or when I want you to identify a polynomial, we kind of already covered that. In this playlist, we're going to discuss evaluating combining like terms. That's our next video. Adding and subtracting polynomials. Scary, but it's easy once you know the rules. Multiplying polynomials. This is where a lot of people confuse adding and multiplying, and it's easy once you get the hang of it. And dividing polynomials is usually what scares everyone, but once you get through these videos, you'll be fine.